Hi, it's Martin Gibbons and welcome back to this video. And we want to take us between here and the rest of the year and really convert those interviews into actual job offers. And I want to make the bold claim that what we should be aiming for is to convert every interview into a job offer. If you go to all the trouble of winning an interview and turning up for the thing and delivering your performance, then the very least you want out of it is a job offer. Now here's the thing, when you're not that great at interviews and when you don't get job offers from most of the interviews, then what tends to happen is that when you get a job offer, you hoop the hoop and you run the risk of actually just taking it. And this means that not only your overall, it takes a long time, but actually what you settle for gets lower and lower and lower, especially when it's very competitive. Now take this scenario, imagine that you're actually sitting with 3 or 4 job offers on your table. Do you think you would make different decisions? Do you think you would approach the world differently when you're in that scenario? Well, of course you would. The trouble is that what we tend to be sitting with is no job offers and 1 job offer. And we tend to base our decisions in that scenario. That's a really poor place to be trying to negotiate or play from. And often, I think that one factor alone probably makes us make very poor job decisions, career decisions, and we take the job offer. If you had 3 or 4 job offers sitting on your table, then I suspect that the quality of your career decision making would significantly increase. So this is why the interview thing is so important. So I'm going to cover a couple of absolute myths and facts and things you really need to know here if you are job hunting or if you ever intend to go to a job interview ever again in your life. So probably should point out this case that nearly all of my clients are already in jobs, nearly all of my clients are already successful, and what I tend to be working with them on is making better career decisions, speeding up their career progress, looking at making more money. So I think an awful lot of people are in the mindset of, oh, I've no job and I need a job, and oh, I've got a job, don't need to do anything. But you'll find that all the smart people are actually in jobs, making money, doing fine, but they want to do it better. They want better jobs, they want more money, they want better conditions, they want hours that suit them, they want to work from home a little more, they want to commute less, whatever it is that you decide is important to you, and that's the kind of people that I work with. So if you're in that bracket, if you genuinely want more from it, not just a job, but a great job, something that you enjoy doing, then this is the right place to come to. If you are looking at going to interviews and you don't just want an interview and it's sitting on the table, but you want to have your choice, you want to have 3 or 4 people fighting over you, then this is what today's about. Okay, so let me deal with a couple of big issues and explain why I feel that what you need is this interview training course. And there's 2 or 3 reasons for that. The first thing I want to tell you is, okay, just in case you're in any doubt, job interviews are not fair. They really aren't. In fact, they almost make no sense, and the choices that are made by employers are so ridiculous as to be unbelievable. I tell you this because I think many people approach a job interview thinking that they're going to find it unbiased and non-prejudiced and fair, and you'll be judged on your merits, and you've got the experience and you've got the qualifications and the sensible thing, and if the job's right for you, believe me, that's all hokum and nonsense. And job interviews are extremely prejudiced, they're extremely subject to the human condition. Humans are very, very what's the opposite of objective? Subjective especially when it comes to making career decisions and making employment decisions. So I need you to believe that, you know what, it's a completely corrupt and useless system. Now that's okay, as long as you know that and accept that, because I can show you, and we cover in great detail in the course, what you do about that and how you turn this ridiculous scenario to your advantage. If you think you're going to go in there and just play fair and play the game and just do the thing, I'm afraid you're going to have very few job offers and you're going to be competing in a very, very difficult environment. I want to change that for you. You've got to find a better way. The second fact I need to give you, and I think this is a painful one and you might not accept it, I'll just use the short version. Everyone sucks at interviews. And I sit in interviews, I sit in interview panels, I work with employers over at People Maps, I build recruitment systems for employers, I talk to employers on a regular basis, and over the last 10 years or so I've had various approaches and been quite intimate with that whole environment. So when I tell you all this, I'm telling you it with both hats on. I'm here to represent you today, but also with my other hats on, I do work with and help employers. And ultimately, me personally, I just want to see the right people in the right jobs. I think that's better for you, the individual, and I think that's better for the employer and the company. And the trouble is that the way the system is this now, it doesn't suit. It's a lose-lose situation. You find yourself in a job that you don't really like, and they find themselves with staff that aren't really the most appropriate staff for the role. So we have a situation that practically falls back to a lose-lose scenario. And I want to change that. I want you to enjoy what you do and be well rewarded for it. And I want employers to have the right people. So I can reconcile both of these. But today we're talking about you and what you're trying to do. And I have to tell you that really the quality of the interviewing that people have is shockingly bad. And I can sit in a room for 2 days and look at 30 candidates, and the only thing I'm looking at is degrees of badness when it comes to how sucky everybody is at interviewing. And this is because fundamentally they don't understand what's going on, and they've picked up on some tips here and there, but really they've got it all back to front and are approaching it ridiculously badly. Now, the good news is that it's really easy to fix. It's really easy to become exceptionally good. It's really easy to actually stand head and shoulders above other candidates. And my clients generally do. And you'll see that from some of the testimonials, both about interviews and about the system in general. But when my clients go into an interview, I have to say they have a distinct advantage, even an unfair advantage over other candidates, because they know what they're doing and they don't suck when it comes to actually delivering an interview performance. Now, in this day and age, let me tell you, it's never been more competitive. If you're going for any kind of conventional interview, then you're up against a lot of people, for one, and probably a lot of good people. Let's be honest, if someone has managed to get to the interview, then they probably have already established that they have sufficient qualifications and sufficient work experience. So really, if there's 20 people in an interview, it's up for grabs. You don't get invited to interviews if you're not even a contender, so most companies try and resolve that. So if you're in the running, then so is everybody else in that interview, and you could be up against an awful lot of people. So when you're up against a lot of people, when you're in an extremely competitive situation, what do you need? What do you need more than anything else? And this applies to businesses as well as this scenario here. Well, quite simply, you need an edge. And again, if you think that your work experience and your qualifications are a sufficient edge, then I have to tell you it's not. And this is for the final reason, and we covered this in I hope you caught the small case study that we did earlier on, because I do want to tell you that real people do this stuff all the time, and you can do it too, but it was that big revelation that who gets hired at the interview? Good grief. The person that gets the job offer is usually the person who gave the best performance on the day. Shocking. It has no reflection or correlation on the person's ability to do the job. It usually comes down to the person's ability to perform well in the interview. Now, employers will say this isn't the case and they'll try and fight it, but they're fighting against human nature here, and this is how humans work. You also have to remember that most of the employers that you will face in most recruitment panels are largely amateurs when it comes to recruitment. In that, it's not their day job. Their day job is to go and do whatever it is they do in the company, and from time to time, they have to come in and hire people. So that's a common kind of scenario. So again, If you can deliver an exceptional performance, then you give yourself this edge. And when you can give yourself an edge, then what you start to see are several offers on the table. And that's where you need to get to. If you really want your career to accelerate and move quickly, take 3 years, not 15 years, 20 years. I mean, this is how long people are taking in this slow climb, often in the wrong direction. But let's just assume, if we're going to interviews, I'm going to presume that you already know what it is you want to do, and you already have made those decisions. So you've taken care of the earlier parts. But we're now in the interview, so you really need to nail it. And what you want to come home with between the beginning of the month and the end of the month is 3 or 4 job offers on the table, and the discussions that you want to have in your house with your family, etc., are we going to take this offer or this offer? And you're going to go back and say, okay, what does that give you to negotiate with? So this is what we're working on. Now this is why you need it. This is why this course is essential, because without this, I'm afraid you don't get an edge. And when you don't have an edge, then you just aren't going to be able to deliver the exceptional performance. And you're just going to be one of the other mediocre, terrible performers on the day. And what employers are often left with, and I say this because I sit in these panels, is who was the least crappy today? And that's often what they will hire. Not who was fantastic, who delighted us, who really knew what they were talking about. That's not how it works. Unfortunately, what we usually see is who wasn't quite as bad as everybody else. Now, so this is why I pulled together this specific course exclusively looking at interviews. And of course, there's a lot of psychology at play in an interview, and that's fundamentally what I'm all about. So I will show you the psychology that's at play, and I'll show you how to use the psychology to your advantage. I'm not talking about tricks and Jedi mind tricks or any of that kind of nonsense. This is absolutely legitimate stuff, and if you understand what's going on, then you will have several aha moments. Excuse me, suddenly interviews will look completely different from anything you've ever seen before. So here's what you get in the course. Over 30 videos, actually, excuse me, I think we're looking at nearer 40 videos. And each one is looking at different aspects of things. So we take you right from the nuts and bolts of what's going on in the interview, and then take you right the way through so that you can negotiate and deliver. And ultimately leave that employer with, this is the one. Where has he been all her life? Where has she been all her life? This is what we're after. And this course will show you exactly how to do that. I'm also going to share with you, as I say, I do work on the other side of that desk. So I genuinely, I'm going to let you into the other side of the desk. I'm going to flip open and you can see behind the curtain if you like, and actually get to see it from the inside. And I'll show you what goes on in an employer's head, what the issues are, what they're trying to do, and how you can give them what they actually really want. And most job seekers, most candidates sitting in an interview never do. And it's really easy. Easy for you, easy for them. And as I said before, there's a lot of psychology. And one person's complex, put 2 people in a room and you've got extremely complex. And if you don't understand the basic psychology that's running in a room and how to make it work for you, then you're at a serious disadvantage. So we'll deal with that as well. And of course, it's personality centric. I don't even need to tell you that down. So again, you'll find personality content within this, because we'll look at this, because what's the right thing for you and your personality type may be the exactly wrong thing for somebody else. It's not a one-size-fits-all t-shirt that we're dealing with here. So again, we're sensitive to that, and we're looking at what works for you. So you might be extremely on the extreme extrovert scale, let's say. So what would work for you and what you should be doing would be very different from someone who's on the extreme introvert scale. And it would be crazy to try and reconcile that and tell either of those to do either of those. So again, personality centric. Now, what are the kind of issues that we deal with? Well, of course, you're looking at interview nerves, very common, and all sorts of people across the personality spectrum suffer from interview nerves. This either means that you talk too much, or you don't say enough, or you forget to say important things, or you just know that because you're a wee bit nervous, your performance in an interview is below par of your performance in your job and in your everyday life. And a lot of people come away with that feeling where, I wish this, in any other situation, I would have really nailed this, but in an interview, it just seems to go wrong. often that's nerves in some form or other. So again, we'll look at that. And when you understand what you're doing here, and I think one of the big fundamental things, and it came out in a case study, is that what you actually end up with when you walk into an interview is a clear plan. You have your agenda, and you will know, once you do the course, how to control the interview and continually bring it back to your plan and your agenda, not theirs. So you're not running in blind, you're not running about wondering what they're going to ask next, what's going to happen. You know how it's going to play out, and you know how to bring it back on course. And when you remove the uncertainty and the complete blind panic that most people find themselves in an interview, when you have a plan, then you can deliver an exceptional interview performance. The whole game changes. And this one small thing, and it doesn't matter whether you're introvert or extrovert, you need to take control of the interview. This is particularly important because very often, as I said, you will be working with amateurs who don't really know how to run an interview, and they will be so pleased when you can kind of quietly and gently and very subtly just take control of the interview so that it goes in a nice logical A to B to C to job offer. And it's the most natural thing in the world, and that's what you should be taking it through. It's not, when you're interviewing, getting a job offer shouldn't be a big surprise. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've got one client this now who absolutely claims this, and he goes to a lot of interviews and he pretty much gets job offers all the time. And because he applies these simple techniques, but as he knows, because he gets through this process, because he has a simple plan, that the offer is almost inevitable, and his decision these days is purely one of which offer will he accept. And that's the position that you want to be in too. So it should be a natural thing to go from here through a process, so at the end of it there's only one thing for the employer to do, and that's to make an offer. And that's where we can take you. Okay, so let me finish on that then, and briefly explain what the actual deal is this now. Now, if you're watching this video, you've been invited to do so. This is not available on the website. I'm not opened it up to the public. I generally have, if it only by email invite have you actually got to see this video at all, or this offer. So the offer is purely for my internal people. It's for people like you who have signed up for me at some point, probably maybe quite a while ago, but not everybody is getting this offer. This course I was going to be selling for about £120. I say it's 40 videos. We get into a lot of detail here. There's personality content in there. If you were to come and try and talk to me on the phone, I'd be charging you that for a half hour. I generally don't do that anymore. And as I say, this is a course that's certainly worth that kind of money. And if you were to go and try and hire, you could be paying 10 times this for some of this kind of stuff. But I decided that that's not where I want to go with this, and I really do want more people to genuinely understand and get better interviews. So we're not doing this. And what instead I'm going to do is actually give you the whole course completely free. And you might be thinking, okay, that was quite a discount. Yes, it is. Let me explain how it works. What we've decided to do is actually create a membership for interviews itself. So I've just created a small membership site, which essentially means that, and the reason for this is that if I'm working with members, it means I can actually hear from you and we can actually get talking a bit more. I can get feedback from you, I can comment on what you're doing, I can keep it a bit more intimate, and we can actually work on things a bit bigger. Because I say the people I work with aren't just, oh, let me get a job, got a job, oh, thank God that's over. That's not who I work with. I work with people who are in jobs and who are successful. So what I'm working with is people who want better jobs, faster up the career ladder, and who want to be more successful quicker. You know, I'm looking for people who want regular job offers without trying too hard. That's what I'm working with. So when you become a member, then I know that you're not just, oh, I just need to get a job and then I can forget about it. You're actually genuinely wanting to build your career. You want to advance and move yourself forward. And that's the kind of people I want to hang about with. That's the kind of people I want to help and support. So I'll show you all my tricks and stuff. And when you become a member, it basically means that we can work on this on an ongoing basis so that it really works for you in the long term. This is not something that you just do today and then forget next month because, oh, you got a job offer. Whoop-de-doo. What you're looking for is regular offers all the time. Every time you go to an interview, you're going for bigger and bigger and better jobs, that your ambitions are there. And that doesn't mean more money. I mean, that's the obvious way, but of course, better conditions, better things. You know, I want to make the same money, but you know what? I only want to work 2 days a week. If that's you, then get on board with me. Let me show you how we can move you in that direction. You don't just need to settle for their terms and their thing. In the case study there, we were talking about the interview with Julie. Julie's the last person in the world that would negotiate hard on a job offer or an interview. And without really trying in that particular job, she increased it by £9,000 without really bursting a gut. Now, I think she could have probably done an awful lot more if she's had even more offers on the table, but that was that scenario here. This is where you and I need to go. So you can either be a sort of, you know, hit now and then forget about it, or you can genuinely keep working with it. So I'm hoping that you'll join me, and together we can keep working on this, and month on month we can get you further and further. We can accelerate your career, and that's what we're after here. It's not just about, oh, we've got a job, thanks very much, and we just stay here until we get sacked again, and then, oh, we've got a job, and then this is how most people's careers go. It kind of goes like that, and maybe they'll get a wee one of them then again. What we want is this kind of situation, you know, where essentially month on month, year on year, gradually you're moving towards bigger and better things. So that's why I'm making it membership. I don't want to deal with fly-by-night people. I don't want to deal with people who are just about, oh, get me a job, and then once I've got the job, I'm out of here. Don't want to think about my career ever again until the next time I get made unemployed. That's not who I work with. I only work with people who are actually serious about, you know, making their contribution and doing something and getting a lot. And I want people who are ambitious. I want people who actually really want to make a difference, because there's so many people who have the ability, but because they don't know some basic things like how to get job offers and how to conduct an interview, their potential just sits away down here somewhere. They never get to actually the opportunities that I think they probably deserve. And I want to help those people so that essentially it really does make the world and business a better place. So the membership will be a small monthly fee, and I think, and I'm hoping it hasn't changed by the time I've done this, but we're certainly going to start essentially giving it away. The £9 a month, where'd that number come from? That's about the price of a coffee in a week. So imagine you to pay for a Starbucks once a week and get yourself a decent coffee. That's what we're talking about. And that's what your career could be worth. Now, I will put this up significantly very shortly, although I do have a quota, which means I'm only going to take on so many people as well. So I will close the doors, and I'm only going to take on a few people this now, because I want you to come in and get playing with it and get more testimonials in a specific membership. If we open the doors again in the future, I'm not sure when that'll be, then it'll be an awful lot more than £9 per month. But if you think that you're worth £9 a month, if you think that you're worth a coffee a week, if you think your career and your career prospects, what if this course managed to let you negotiate your next interview and increase that salary with £9 grand? That's 1,000 times the monthly membership here. And I think we can do that. Mainly because I know how bad most people are when it comes to interviews. Okay, so that's the deal. It will be closing shortly. I do urge you to come along, join me, let's get involved, let's turn you into an interview expert, let's ensure that what we're working towards is that if you get the interview, then pretty much you're going to get a job offer out of it. That's my expectation for you. That's what you and I should be striving for. We shouldn't be settling for less than that. So if you'd like more offers on the table, join me, sign up, become a member, work with me, and over the next few months I think we'll really make some huge difference to your life and to your career. Okay, I'm Martin Gibbons. If you have any questions, just send me an email. There's probably contact details on this page somewhere, or just reply to the email that we sent you or raise a ticket, and I'll happily answer any of those questions. I think you'll really love the course. It's distributed via video, it's all online, you do it at your own pace, and as long as you're a member, you get it all for free. So instead of charging you all that money, you can get it for free. Just become a member, let's work together on this. I think we can really make some big differences. Okay, I'm Martin, thanks very much for watching.